Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalam ala ashraf al-anbiya'i wa mursaleen. Nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Allahumma anfa'na bima 'allamtana wa 'allamna ma yanfa'una. Allahumma zidna 'ilman innaka anta 'alimul hakim. Allahumma ij'al hadhihi al-muhadara hujjatan lana la hujjatan 'alayna ya rabbil 'alamin. Amma ba'd. This is our 9th class and final class in Salatul Eid, going over Kitab al-Siyam. As we started off with the book of Siyam, Kitab al-Siyam, the book of fasting. Then we moved on to Zakatul Fitr. And lastly, with regards to Ramadan and fasting, we're going over Salatul Eid. This is the last part or phase with regards to the month of Ramadan and fasting. Inshallah ta'ala, on Monday, we'll be starting another book, Umdat al-Ahkam. It's a book of hadith from Sahih Bukhari and Muslim. Also going over the book of fasting, as it was requested of me by some of the brothers in the masjid to continue throughout the month of Ramadan and go over everything again. La bats. It's no problem, inshallah, we'll do it again. This time we'll do it through this book here. We covered it through the aspect of fiqh, through Abu Musa or Musa al-Hajjawi rahimahullah ta'ala in his book Zad al-Mustaqni'. Next we will also approach the issue of fasting from the aspect of hadith, and we'll go through a book Umdat al-Ahkam bi'ithnillahi ta'ala. طيب. Bab Salatul Eidain. Bab Salatul Eidain. This chapter here, it talks about the chapter of the two Eid prayers. The two Eid prayers. The Musannif rahimahullah ta'ala bada'a bi bayan al-hukum. Bayan al-hukum. He started off with clarifying the ruling as it relates to Salatul Eid. The ruling as it relates to Salatul Eid. Hakadha al-ulama. Like this, sometimes the ulama, they come up with sometimes before they explain what that thing is, they'll give the ruling of it first. So here, Al-Musannif rahimahullah ta'ala, he starts off by saying, وَهِيَ فَرْضُ الْكِفَايَةِ يعني صلاة العيدين هو فرض الكفاية. طبعا, obviously, this is the madhab or the school of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal rahimahullah ta'ala. He says, هي فرض الكفاية. فرض الكفاية. We also know we have something called fardu ain and fardu kifaya. Does anyone know the difference between the two? Have you ever heard of these terms before? Fardu ain and fardu kifaya. Are these terms familiar to anyone? Huh? Like, what are they? What's the difference?
Fardu kifaya, my understanding, what a group can do it and then it covers the other group. Or one group can do it. One group of people can do it and then it covers the other group, maybe the others don't do it. But then that part behind.
So they say إذا قام به بعض سقط عن الباقين. If a group from among the believers do it, then the sin is removed from everyone else. This is what fardu kifaya. This means that it is obligatory, but they will call it a communal obligation. A communal obligation means as long as people from the community performs that prayer, then the sin is removed from the jama'ah, yani all of the Muslims. Fardu ain. What is fardu ain? Huh? Fadda.
Everyone have to do it.
Everyone. Fardu ain, yani yata'ayyan ala kulli wahid. Ala kulli wahid. Yata'ayyan, yani this thing becomes obligatory upon every human being. Like what? Everyone it is obligatory for them to fast. It is obligatory for everyone. You cannot fast for me. He can't fast for you, so on and so forth. The salat, no one can pray for you. This is fardu ain. And everyone must do it. So according to Imam Ahmad, rahimahullah ta'ala, there are 3 riwayat. Thalatha riwayat. Thalatha riwayat on Imam Ahmad. This means that there are 3 different narrations of Imam Ahmad on this mas'ala, on this issue. The first one is that it is fardu kifaya, communal obligation. The second one is that it is fardu ain. That it is fardu ain. This is also a position from the madhab with the school of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal rahimahullah ta'ala. Every position, obviously, they have their adillah to support it. And the third position is that it is sunnah mu'akkada. Sunnah mu'akkada, yani it means that it is a sunnah that was never left off. It was a sunnah that was never left off. Right. How does the ulama explain sunnah and wajib? What's the difference between the two? Huh? Anyone? What is a sunnah? Hish ya'ni bihi. One of the mashayikh, Sheikh Muhammad ibn Adam al-Ethiopi, hafidhullah ta'ala, may Allah preserve him. One day we were sitting in his class and this issue came up about sunnah. And he said, we don't find the scholars of the past talking about sunnah, meaning if you do it, you get rewarded. If you leave it off, you won't be punished. So, they didn't talk about sunnah that way. If someone told you something was the sunnah, people would rush to do it to get the reward. Iqtida bin Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam. We're following with the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. However, from the aspect of legislative rulings, what is a sunnah? A sunnah is, if you do this thing, you'll be rewarded. And if you leave it off, you are not deserving of Allah's punishment. If you leave it off, you are not deserving of Allah's punishment. Yani, there's no sin on you if you don't do it. But if you do it, you'll be rewarded. And he said, we don't find many of the scholars of the past discussing these issues. Is it sunnahs or not? Some people, it has to do any act of worship. Well, do I have to do it? If I don't have to do it, I'm going to leave it off. La. We don't find people doing that, and from the scholars of the past. However, nowadays, some people might ask, well, if I don't have to do it, I'm not going to do it. If it's not wajib, I'm not going to do it. The reality of it is anytime something is legislated from the religion, فَأْتُوا مِنْهُ مِسْتَطَعْتُمْ. Yani do it as much as you are able. Do as much as you are able with regards to following the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. طيب. So, the Shaykh rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, إِذَا تَرَكَهَا أَهْلُ بَلَدٍ قَاتَلَهُمَ الْإِيمَانِ. If a person were to leave off the Salatul Eidain, then the leaders would fight these people. The leaders or the rulers, whoever that may be, will fight these people that will leave off establishing the Eid or establishing the Eid. طيب. وَوَقْتُهَا كَالصَّلَاةِ الضُّحَى. What is the time for Salatul Eid? They say it is similar to Salatul Duha. It is similar to Salatul Duha. طيب. What is Salatul Duha? What time does it start? Salatul Duha, it starts irtifa'u shams. Irtifa'u shams. Yani, the Eid prayer can be prayed as soon as the sun rises, up until Zawal al-Shams. Zawal al-Shams, what does Zawal al-Shams mean? What does that mean? Does anyone know? Have you ever heard the term Zawal al-Shams? If anyone was in our class on Salat, we covered Zawal al-Shams. Zawal al-Shams is when the sun is right over your head and it goes towards Salatul Dhuhr. Remember when we spoke about the shadows, right? Once the sun is above your head and it moves slightly off to the other side, there's a small shadow. This is called Zawal. So Salatul Dhuha or Salatul Eid can be any time from when the sun rises up until around that time. واضح؟ طيب. فإن لم يعلم بالعيد إلا بعده صلوا من الغد. And so the Shaykh rahimahullah, he says, فإن لم يعلم. Let's say, for example, and this is upon everyone here. Let's say, for example, here we didn't know that today was the Eid. For example, all the other Muslims in the world knew that today was the Eid. They celebrated. We didn't find out until after the Zawal, until after Zawal al-Shams. Yani we didn't find out until after Salatul Dhuhr that today was actually the Eid. So the ulama, they say, فَإِن لَمْ يُعْلَمْ بِالْعِيدِ إِلَّا بَعْدَهُ. Yani illa, except for after the Eid, فَصَلُّوا مِنَ الْغَدِ. Then the next day you are to pray Salatul Eid. Even though you missed it for that day, then you will pray it the next day. This is talking about the community, not one person. As with regards to one person, then we'll talk about that later. Does that make sense? Did I lose anybody? Sure. Fahimtum? Understand? Don't say you understand and not really understand. Some people say, I get it. And they really don't get it. Huh? Like. So then the Shaykh Rahimahullah Ta'ala, he says, وَتُسَنُّ فِي الصَّحْرَاءِ. It is sunnah to pray. Now we're going to mention 3 or 4 sunan with regards to Salatul Eid. It says, وَتُسَنُّ فِي الصَّحْرَاءِ. وَتُسَنُّ فِي الصَّحْرَاءِ. Yani it is sunnah for a person to pray the Eid in the Sahara. Sahara is like a desert, an open place. So it is not recommended to pray Salatul Eid in a masjid, for example. It's better to pray it outside. But so some of the ulama, they say, I think it was Imam al-Shafi'i, rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, except for Masjid al-Haram. Except for Masjid al-Haram. Many of the ulama say, but the Haram, the Masjid in Mecca, is an exception. The Masjid in Mecca is an exception. Allah ta'ala a'lam. طيب. The next issue, the next sunnah that is mentioned, وَتَقْدِيمُ الصَّلَاةُ الْأَضْحَى وَعَكْسُهُ الْفِطْرُ. So then we have 2 Eids. We have Eid al-Fitr, Salatul Eid, Eid al-Fitr, and we have Eid al-Adha. Eid al-Adha. So when is the Eid al-Adha? Does anyone know? Huh? When is it? In Dhul Hijjah, ahsant. During Hajj, right? And then we have Eid al-Fitr. Eid al-Fitr is when? Huh? The end of Ramadan. The word Eid, it means yatakarrar. The word Eid means yatakarrar. Yani it comes around every year. This is why they call it Eid. Eid means it comes around every year. This is what it means. طيب? So it says, Taqdeemu Salat al-Adha. It is sunnah to pray Salatul Eid al-Adha at the earliest possible time. This is sunnah. And we'll explain that a little later. The reason, I guess we can say the reason for praying Salatul Adha or Eid al-Adha, Salatul Adha, quickly is because people are usually fasting and they want to go and slaughter and eat their meat. So for this reason, that Salatul Eid is prayed earlier. Whereas Salatul Eid al-Fitr is delayed. Why is it delayed? Some of the ulama, they mention it is delayed for the purpose of people breaking their fast and eating breakfast. Not that they were fasting, but eating breakfast in the morning and even giving out their zakat. Eating breakfast in the morning and even giving out their zakat. As we mentioned, it is sunnah for the person to give out their zakat before the salah. Before the salah. Well, what salah are we talking about? Salatul Eid. Ahsant. Salatul Eid. طيب. وَأَكْلُهُ قَبْلَهَا. It is also sunnah to eat before what? Before Eid al-Fitr. And it is also وَأَكْسُهُ فِي الْأَضْحَى. And it is also sunnah to eat after Salatul Eid al-Adha. طيب. In Dhaha. وَتُكْرَهُ فِي الْجَامِعِ بِلَا عُذْرٍ. And it is hated, not recommended, to pray the Eid in a masjid without an excuse. It is hated to pray in a masjid without an excuse. وَيُسَنُّ تَكْبِيرُ مَأْمُومًا إِلَيْهَا مَاشِيًا بَعْدَ الصُّبْحِ. وَتُسَنُّ تَبْكِيرُ مَأْمُومًا إِلَيْهَا مَاشِيًا بَعْدَ الصُّبْحِ. It is sunnah for the one who is praying Salatul Eid, that they come early after Salatul Fajr walking. It is sunnah to walk to Salatul Eid after Salatul Fajr. وَتَأَخُّرْ إِمَامٍ إِلَى وَقْتِ الصَّلَاةِ عَلَى أَحْسَنِ هَيْئَةٍ. And it is also sunnah for the imam, the one who is leading the Salatul Eid, for him to be late, yani not late, but be the last one to delay coming to the salah, and people are to come ala ahsani hay'atan. Yani they should come with the nicest of their clothes, the cleanest of their clothes, the best dress of their clothes for Salatul Eid. Except for who? Illa mu'taqifa. Except for the one that is making i'tikaf. Intabihu. It is sunnah for everyone to come with their best garments, except for the one that is making i'tikaf. As for the one that is making i'tikaf for those last 10 nights of Ramadan, then that person should come. It says, إِلَّا لِمُعْتَكِفَ فَفِي ثِيَابِ الْإِعْتِكَافِهِ وَمِنْ شَرْطِهَا. Right. As for the one that is making i'tikaf, he should come to the salah in the thawb or the clothes or the garments that he wore while he was in i'tikaf. The clothing that he wore while he was in i'tikaf. From the conditions of the Eid, وَشَرْطُهَا الْإِسْتِطَانٌ, that a person should be mustawtan. Mustawtan is a person that is living in that particular area. That a person that is living in that particular area. The next condition, وَعَدَدُ الْجُمْعَةِ وَعَدَدُ الْجُمْعَةِ, that it should reach the same number of Jum'ah, and this is according to the school of Imam Ahmed in Tabih. According to the school of Imam Ahmed, and we will cover this inshallah when we cover Salatul Jum'ah. However, according to the school of Imam Ahmed, there should be 40 shakhsan. There should be 40, a minimum of 40 people should be present. The ulama, they differ about this issue, and we'll get into that in more detail as we reach that particular chapter. And permission of the imam is not sought in order to establish Salatul Eid. When they say imam here in Tabit, this is not talking about the imam of the masjid. Anytime when we find in the books of the fuqaha, when they mention imam, they are not referring to the imams of the immat al-masajid. They're not talking about them. Rather, they are talking about the Muslim rulers of their particular or respective countries. The leaders of their particular countries. Not the imams of the masjid. However, in some cases, like when they say ta'khir al-imamin ila waqt as-salah, this could be the one that is praying. Why? Because there's no alif lam here. Ta'khir al-imam. This is general. But when they say al-imam, like for example, when they say idnu imamin, for example, this could be referring to the imams, the leaders or the rulers of the country. Allah Ta'ala a'lam. وَيُسَنُّ أَن يَرْجِعَ مِنْ طَرِيقٍ آخَرٍ. And it is sunnah to return a different way in which you came from. So for example, if you travel to the masjid one way, you return a different way. You don't take the same path. You don't leave the same path that you came from when you arrive at the masjid. وَيُصَلِّيَهَا رَكْعَتَيْنِ قَبْلَ الْخُطْبَةِ. And you pray Salatul Eid before the khutbah. The Salatul Eid is prayed before the khutbah. Now we're going to discuss, what should a person do during Salatul Eid? What are the actions of the Muslim during Salatul Eid? What are you supposed to be doing? So it says, يُكَبِّرُ فِي الْأُولَى بَعْدَ الْإِحْرَامِ وَالْإِسْتِفْتَاحِ وَقَبْلَ التَّعَوُّذِ وَالْقِرَاءَةَ سِتًّا. The first thing a person does when the Imam says, Allahu Akbar, يُكَبِّرُ فِي الْأُولَى بَعْدَ الْإِحْرَامِ. So we have something called Takbirul Ihram. Takbirul Ihram, this is the first takbir that a person makes in a salah. When they say Allahu Akbar, and they put their hands either here or wherever school that they follow, they place their hands on their chest or right below their chest, for example. Then they make the dua al-istiftah, the dua al-istiftah before you actually pray. This is a dua that a person makes. وَقَبْلَ التَّعَوُّذِ وَالْقِرَاءَةِ, before they do their, the ta'awudh, before their recitation, they're going to make the takbir 6 times. So what does it look like? For example, the Imam says, Allahu Akbar, the first Allahu Akbar. Right? Then they're going to say Allahu Akbar after that 6 times. So we have Takbir al-Ihram, and then after that there are 6 takbirat. There are 6 takbirat. وَفِي الثَّانِيَةِ, and then the second raka'ah, قَبْلَ الْقِرَاءَةِ خَمْسًا. So after Takbir al-Intiqal. So right now when a person is on the ground, they make sujood, and they're coming up from sujood, and the Imam says Allahu Akbar, and everyone stands up. This takbir is called Takbirul Intiqal. Takbir al-intiqal means takbir that you say when you move from one position to the next position. Once you make that takbir al-intiqal and you stand up, there are 5 takbirat after that. So when the imam is standing, he will say Allahu Akbar 5 times. And each time that person will raise their hands. Each time they say Allahu Akbar, they will raise their hands. So the Shaykh Rahimahullah, he says, يَرْفَعُ يَدَيْهِ مَعَ كُلِّ تَكْبِيرَةٍ. He will raise his hands with every takbir. And then he will make a dua. This dua here, many of the Salaf or the scholars of the past would make this dua. Allahu Akbar kabira, walhamdulillahi kathira, wa subhanallahi bukratan wa asila. This is a dua that is made between every takbir. So if there are 6 takbirat for the first one, Allahu Akbar, and then they will say this dua, Allahu Akbar kathira, to themselves, obviously, not out loud so everyone can hear you. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammad nabi wa ala alihi wa sallama tasliman kathira. This is the dua that is made. And then he says, wa in ahab qala ghayra dhalik. And if a person so chooses, they can say any dua other than that. They can say any dua other than that. This dua is made between every takbir for the takbirat. Wadih ikhwan? Is that clear? Tayyib. Then after that, the imam will recite. ثُمَّ يَقْرَأُ جَهْرًا فِي الْأُولَى بَعْدَ الْفَاتِحَةِ. Then he will recite Al-Fatiha and then As-Subh, As-Sabh, Sabbih Isma Rabbika Al-A'la, Surah Al-A'la. He will recite Surah Al-A'la, and then in the first rak'ah, this is sunnah, not obligatory, sunnah. And then the second rak'ah, he will recite Surah Al-Ghashiyah, Surah Al-Ghashiyah, في الثانية. فإذا سلم, then once he finishes the 2 rak'at, the imam will make taslim wa khataba khutbatain, and then he will give 2 khutbahs. 2 khutbahs. طيب. وَلَيْسَ وَاجِبًا لِلْحُضُورِ. It is not wajib, obligatory for everyone to stay and listen to the khutbah on Salatul Eid. It is not wajib. So he will give the 2 khutbahs ka khutbata Jum'ah. He will give 2 khutbahs just like the khutbah for Salatul Jum'ah. وَيَسْتَفْتِحُ الْأُولَى بِتِسْعِ تَكْبِرَاتٍ. And when he starts the first khutbah, he will recite, or he will say tis'a or tis'i takbirat. He will start off by saying Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar 9 times before he starts the first khutbah. And then after he sits down and he gets up to start the second khutbah, he will say Allahu Akbar 7 times. The khutbah for the Eid, what should it be about? يَحُثَّهُمْ فِي الْفِطْرِ عَلَى الصَّدَقَةِ. That you urge people to give the sadaqah, to give charity. وَيُبَيِّنَ لَهُمْ مَا يُخْرِجُونَ. And you clarify to them the affairs that they need to hear, whatever that may be. وَيُرَغِّبُهُمْ فِي الْأَضْحَى. And if it's during Salatul Adha, then likewise they would command them or urge them to slaughter during that time, and clarify to them the rulings related to it. وَالتَّكْبِرَاتِ الزَّوَائِدُ وَالذِّكْرُ بَيْنَهَا وَالْخُطْبَتَانِ سُنَّةً. So 3 things here. These extra takbirat that we make, the 7 Allahu Akbar in the khutbah and in the salat, the dhikr that we make, the dua that is made between every takbir, and the khutbatan, the 2 khutbahs, they are all sunnah. They are all sunnah. Yani if they are left off, there's no harm on the person that leaves them off. طيب. However, it is sunnah, and what we mean by sunnah, we should do it. Not the least thing possible that we should do. No. If it's sunnah, the Prophet ﷺ did it, then we should do it because we get rewarded for following the sunnah of our Prophet ﷺ. وَيُكْرَهُ التَّنَفُّلُ قَبْلَ الصَّلَاةِ وَبَعْدَهَا فِي مَوْضُعِهَا. It is also hated for a person to perform a tanafful, to make a sunnah prayer before Salatul Eid and after Salatul Eid. However, if a person is coming inside the masjid, perhaps it will take a different ruling because the person will be praying Tahiyatul Masjid. Allah Ta'ala a'lam. ولكن it says here وَيُقْرَأُ التَّنَفُّلْ قَبْلَ الصَّلَاةِ وَبَعْدَهَا. And this is with the understanding that that person is praying Salatul Eid outside, not inside the masjid. With the understanding that that person is praying Salatul Eid outside. So for example, if the brothers decide to have Salatul Eid in the parking lot here, they have a tarp down, it is not from the sunnah for you to go in and you pray sunnah prayers before you sit down. Nor is it from the sunnah to pray sunnah prayers once the salah is over. طيب. وَيُسَنُّ لِمَنْ فَاتَتْهُ أَوْ بَعْدَهَا قَضَاؤُهَا عَلَى صِفَتِهَا. Also, it is sunnah for a person, if you missed Salatul Eid, it is sunnah for you to make it up. But we're not talking about making it up the next day. With regards to making, someone might say, wait a minute, you said earlier that if we missed the Salat, then we should make it up the next day. And now you're saying, if you missed the Salat, then you should make the Eid up right away. I'm confused. We're going to clear that confusion. The first time when it was mentioned, the Shaykh Rahimahullah Ta'ala, he was mentioning a community. The whole city, for example, everyone in the area missed the Eid, then you pray it the next day. Whereas individuals, if you miss Salatul Eid, then you make it up right away. You make it up right away. طيب. وَيُسَنُّ التَّكْبِيرُ الْمُطْلَقِ. Okay, so during the Eid, we have Eid al-Fitr and we have Eid al-Adha. We have something in Islam called a takbir. We have takbir al-mutlaq and we have takbir al-muqayyid. Takbir al-mutlaq, what does that mean? When we say, for example, if you hear people, they say, for example, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, walillahi alhamd. This is called the takbirat that are sunnah during Eid al-Fitr or during Eid al-Fitr and during Eid al-Adha. Okay? We have one time it is mutlaq. Mutlaq means it is open at all times, you can say it. We have another situation where it is muqayyid, means that you can only do it during certain times. And we're going to explain that now, insha'Allah ta'ala. طيب. وَيُسَنُّ تَكْبِيرَ الْمُطْلَقِ فِي لَيْلَةِ عِيدَيْنِ وَفِي فِطْرٍ آكَدُ. So, during the night of the Eid, let's say for example, after Maghrib tonight, we found out that the Eid started right now. Does the Eid start in the morning after Fajr, or did it start at Maghrib? Ahsant. It started at Salatul Maghrib. So at Salatul Maghrib, we're what? We're doing the Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, all day. You can do it from right there in the masjid, out in the streets, walking around, in your house. This is called Takbir al-Mutlaq. Yani, it's absolute. You can do it anywhere, anytime. There's no restrictions on it. Right? طيب. وَفِي كُلِّ عَشْرٍ ذِي الْحِجَّةِ. And it is also mutlaq to do it during the first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. The first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah, a person can say the takbirat all day, any day, whatever. It's not restricted to a particular time. With regards to the restrictions, because I found a lot of people may not be aware of this. With regards to the restrictions of the takbirat, the last couple years I was here, I noticed during this time people do not do this. The masajid that I've been to, brothers, do not do this. This is sunnah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. Al-Muqayyid aqiba kulli faridatin fil jama'atin min salat al-fajr yawm arafah. طيب. The next type of takbir that is to be done is during Hajj. During those restricted times during Hajj, is aqiba kulli faridatin fi jama'atin min salat al-fajr yawm arafah. On the day of Arafah, after Salatul Fajr, on the day of Arafah, then they will start the takbirat. And there are two conditions for the takbirat. That is muqayyid, that is restricted. There are two conditions. The first one is that it must be a farida. Yani, it must be an obligatory prayer that a person is praying. And the next one is that a person has to pray in jama'ah. Then there are two conditions in order to do this. The first one is that it must be an obligatory prayer. What's an obligatory prayer? Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha. These are all obligatory prayers. The takbir al-muqayyad is after these obligatory prayers, starting after Salatul Fajr on Yawm al-Arafah. And this is for the one that is not making Hajj. This is for the one that is not making Hajj. As for the one that is making Hajj after Salatul Fajr, they are busy trying to make their way to Arafah. They're busy making their way to Arafah. And we'll talk about that inshallah. The closer Hajj comes, perhaps we will cover that in more detail. وَلِلْمُحْرِمِ مِنْ صَلَاةِ الظُّهْرِ يَوْمَ النَّحْرِ. As for the one that is making Hajj, then theirs start on the day of Nahr, on the 10th. They will start their takbirat on the 10th, min Salatul Dhuhr, from Salatul Dhuhr to Salatul Asr, after Ayyam al-Tashriq. Ayyam al-Tashriq, so it starts from the 10th all the way to the 13th. From the 10th to the 13th. From the 10th, for the one that's making Hajj, and for the one that's not making Hajj, is from the 9th to the 13th, after the obligatory prayers that are prayed in congregation. During that time, I haven't seen most of the masajid that I've been to, people do not do this. Right after the salat, when the imam says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, then people should say, obviously you don't have to do it in unison, but rather individually aloud. Allahu Akbar, Allah. The masjid will be buzzing. In Mecca, the masjid will buzz after the salah. All of the masajid. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, walillahi alhamd. The masajid will buzz. You will hear everyone making this, and then after that they will continue their dhikr and go on about their way. After every obligatory salah, this is done. Inshallah ta'ala, we can start practicing that sunnah in this masjid or others. Allah ta'ala a'lam. طيب. وَإِن نَسْيَهُ قَضَاؤُهُ مَنْ لَمْ يُحْدِثْ أَوْ يَخْرُجْ مِنَ الْمَسْجِدِ. If a person forgets, and they prayed an obligatory prayer, and they prayed it in jama'ah, and if they forget, then they can make that dua up, as long as they did not start talking, or did not leave the masjid. وَلَا يُسَنُّ عَقِبَ صَلَاةِ الْعِيدِ. And it is not sunnah to do it after Salatul Eid. Last year, I saw after Salatul Eid, brothers prayed Salatul Eid, and they were still doing Allahu Akbar, Allah. This is not sunnah. This is not sunnah according to the school of Imam Ahmad. لا يسن عقب صلاة العيد. وصفته شفعا, and the way it should be done is Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Wallahu Akbar, walillahi alhamd. And with that, by the permission of Allah, alhamdulillah, min fadlillah, we have completed the whole chapter on fasting. What do we do on fasting? How do we pay zakat? How do we make i'tikaf? And lastly, how do we pray Salatul Eid? If anyone has any questions, tafaddal. You can ask your questions now, inshallah ta'ala. Now.
Now for the takbirat, what I heard people say that, to do that on what you call a collective game in Muncie, some people say it has to be like an individual.
Individual, that's right.
Not loud,
Not loud. Loud, yes. Loud, yes. Yes, buzzing. Masjid buzz. Allahu Akbar, Allah, yes. Not you don't have to do it in unison. But everyone can do it individually, but out loud. Khalas? That was the only question, mashallah.
Which one is sunnah? To do jama'at together, and you did with that's the sunnah?
What do you mean, to do jama'at together? No, we're not, listen. When an imam says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, everyone, Allahu Akbar, that you don't do it together and make sure it's like in harmony. We're not trying to harmonize here. We're just trying to make the takbirat. That's it.
That's his question.
Yeah, the purpose is we're not trying to harmonize with one another.
But before the imam coming through, you got a microphone come through, one man sitting on the front. Ya akhi, we're talking about two different takbirat. Right now, I'm talking about the takbir al-muqayyad that is restricted. This takbir is after the obligatory prayers during the 9th of Dhul Hijjah up until the 13th of Dhul Hijjah. That's what I'm talking about. What you're talking about is takbir al-mutlaq.
This starts on the night of the Eid. Right now there's Maghrib and we find out that we're praying Salatul Eid tomorrow. Everyone will make the takbirah. Even before the Imam comes in, people should be making the takbirah. The same ruling applies. It doesn't have, we're not trying to harmonize, but it should be done. Not the harmonizing, but the takbirah. Wadah? Right. Any other questions? The same thing? Huh? You don't think he got it? Did you get it?
I have it.
He said he got it. How you gonna say he didn't get it? Huh? Yeah, shit.
I know me and him, we were talking the same thing.
One more thing.
Go ahead.
You said takbirat we're doing and Salatul Eid prayer. You said 6 and first one.
Sure. Some of the ulama differ. Okay, so whoever is leading the Salatul Eid here, they might follow a different school. There are different riwayats. But if you look at all of them total, it would be 7. The first one is the Takbiratul Ihram, that's 1, but they don't count that one. It's 6 after that. Okay? Now, any other questions? Huh? MashaAllah, nothing. MashaAllah. Fuqaha, MashaAllah. Khalas. Huh?
Okay, the one before the Eid.
The one before the Eid, the takbirah. You tell me, which takbir is that? How many takbirah we talk about? 3, right? 2 or 1? How many? How many different types of takbirs did we speak about? 3 or 4? 2? What are they?
The one before the Salah.
The one before the Salah. Well, what's that called? The one before what Salah? Salatul Eid. Right. What about it?
So that one we have to do an harmony.
Yeah, shit. There's no harmonizing.
That one.
No, there's no harmonizing in any of them. We're not trying to put an album together. There's no harmonizing at all. Okay? No harmonizing. Everyone do it individually. But it can be out loud so people can hear you. All right? I know it's going to sound muffled, but that's cool. Any other questions? Huh?
How about the moon sighting? Same city.
The moon sighting.
The same city. Some people they like this example. What's up there? They say, okay, moon sighting tonight. Tomorrow is Eid. Or tomorrow is Ramadan. Some people say no. We go back North to America. We now fasting with this and what's up there.
Yeah, shit. We did a whole lecture about that. Somebody point them to that. Now, real fast. The ulama have different positions on that. Some say you go with your local sighting. They have some evidence to support it. And some say you go with all of the Muslims are to fast together. As a group, all over the world. That's another position. We spoke about that in detail. The different positions, what the ulama say from the time of the companions and so on and so forth. If you can point them to that lecture, we actually cover that in great detail. But in general, if you're going to follow the local sighting, la bats, it's okay. And if you're going to follow the international sighting, la bats. Now, there's 2 positions and they're both supported by Ahlul Ilm. Both of them are supported by the people of knowledge. In your case, I'm assuming you don't have your own masjid, so you're going to probably follow whatever masjid you go to and you believe in their leadership, if you will, and then you will, whatever they decide to do, inshallah, you'll go with that. Any other questions? Huh? Now. Yes, we're talking about for Salatul Eid, the first Eid al-Fitr. From Eid al-Fitr, the takbirat start as soon as we know that they're Eid. So for example, on the 30th of Ramadan, the night of the 30th, we just finished the 29th day, and the night of the 30th, we don't know, is it going to be 29 days or 30 days in Ramadan? So we're going to go out on the 30th night. Remember, the night goes before the day. So we're going to look. If we see the moon, the crescent moon, then we'll start the takbirat right then and there because it is the Eid. You'll hear people saying, also, I forgot to mention, some of the ulama, they also mention it is even la bats, is no problem if a person says to you during the Eid, taqabbal Allah minna wa mink. I know you guys heard this before. During the Eid, a brother might say to you, taqabbal Allah minna wa mink. May Allah accept from us and from you. There's some kalam, there's some statements from Imam Ahmed, rahimahullah ta'ala. He says, I wouldn't start off by saying this to a person, but if a person said this to me, then I would return it. Allah ta'ala a'lam. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Inshallah ta'ala, we will start Umdat al-Ahkam on Monday, going through the same book of Salat, again, through Hadith al-Ahkam, Umdat al-Ahkam. Wa jazakum Allahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.